Coming up on Fulton Today.
I'm Brian Robinson in the FGTV News Center. Transit continues to dominate the conversation between Fulton commissioners and the mayors of Fulton cities. I'll have more on this story coming up.
Final reminders about the upcoming general election with early voting set to begin. And grandparents receive the resources they need to raise their grandchildren. That and more starts right now on Fulton Today. Welcome to Fulton Today, everybody. I'm Shania Chavis-Rucker. Fulton commissioners invite mayors from the cities within Fulton back to the government center for a special call meeting to continue their T-Splost and transit conversations. FGTV's Brian Robinson joins us now from the News Center with more on this story. Brian?
Shania, though this special call meeting primarily focused on transit, the conversation also turned to assessments and what property owners should expect for this year.
And I think it's important that we get moving now.
Inside the government center, mayors from Fulton cities hear for the first time what the passing of House Bill 930 means for their respective cities and the county.
It does create this ATL authority, which we'll talk about in a moment.
Passed on the final day of the 2018 state legislative session, House Bill 930 produced the Atlanta Region Transit Link Authority. The authority creates a new structure for transit planning for Fulton County and 12 other metro Atlanta counties. Since Fulton County recently completed a transit study that determined bus rapid transit was the best option for North and South Fulton, the discussion was how to encompass that study with the Atlanta Region Transit Link Authority, or the ATL, and the process it would take to get to the voters. The mayors were interested in accomplishing this as soon as possible.
All of them that spoke talked about timing and doing the work we need to do now in order to make it happen.
So the bill lays out for Fulton County allowable tax of 0.2%. So in other words, we are currently at 7.75% for the area outside of Atlanta within Fulton County. And that would go up to 7.95%. But that only happens if these mayors get together and agree to an intergovernmental agreement, and then ultimately it goes before the voters.
The conversation also focused on the 2018 tax assessment process. Property values are up in Fulton County, and officials say some people can expect increases. But to avoid a repeat of last year, the county has tried to mitigate the situation.
Put $3.4 million in the 2018 budget, and that money is going to be used to hire additional appraisers to provide better training for the new ones as well as the existing ones, to buy some new technology, computer equipment that will help them in the process.
Overall, the mayors were appreciative of the information presented to them.
We got to make sure, as local elected officials and also county and state officials, we got to make sure that we do the best job possible. And I think this group has done a phenomenal job.
I was excited that we're continuing to move important issues forward. I think there's a collaborative spirit amongst the body that was assembled, and I'm hopeful that the best results will come out of that collaboration.
Both sides will continue to meet on a quarterly basis as transit and assessment discussions progress. Reporting for FGTV, I'm Brian Robinson.
Thank you, Brian. Meanwhile, residents wanting to weigh in on intersection improvements in their community were given the opportunity to do so during a series of open house meetings hosted by Fulton's Public Works Transportation Division. The T-Splost funded projects will improve the intersections of Feldwood Road and Benchmark Drive, Rivertown Road at Cedar Grove Road, and Stonewall Tail Road at Union Road. Those in attendance got to meet the project team and discuss the types of improvements that they would like to see at each location.
Public input is really important for us. As you know, you live in a community where you drive every day. It's a nuisance, maybe because congestion, because geometric issues, or safety. So their input is very important for us to ensure that we're designing those roadways and intersections and be consistent with their needs as well as with engineering needs.
After the open house meetings are complete, the design team will ensure their findings go along with the desires of the community. Now, if you have questions or you need additional information, just call 404-612-0520. Election officials prepare for the start of early voting next week ahead of next month's general election primary. And to ensure that every eligible registered voter is able to cast a vote, the voter education outreach team visited the Center for the Visually Impaired in downtown Atlanta. The team presented and demonstrated voting machines for the visually impaired.
The standard machine may be difficult for them because they can't see the ballot. So we have a machine that will give them audio instructions so they can hear what to do and they can punch a key and vote, make their vote.
As a reminder, early voting for the general election primary begins April 30th and ends May 18th. Hours are Monday through Saturday from 8:30 a.m. to 7 p.m. There's even a Sunday, May 6th option from noon until 5 p.m. Now, during that period, there will be 21 locations available throughout the county. You should also receive a head of household mailing this week that lists all of the early voting locations. Your last chance to vote in the general election primary is May 22nd. If you would like to learn more about the election, including polling locations and early voting dates and hours, you can log on to fultonelections.com. The people on the other end of your first call during an emergency are applauded for their dedication and service here in Fulton and across the nation. FGTV's Felicia Church explains.
Fulton County 911, what is the address of your emergency?
On average, Fulton County's Emergency 911 Center handles over 700,000 phone calls per year, and the people taking those calls have been trained to be calm, responsive, and dependable.
And does hereby proclaim National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week.
That's why when the Board of Commissioners commended Fulton's Director of Emergency Services and his staff in honor of National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week, he immediately made everyone aware of the true heroes.
The true heroes are up on the third floor actually answering 911 calls under the headsets.
Fulton's Emergency Services dispatches law enforcement agencies for the cities of South Fulton, Chattahoochee Hills, Fairburn, Palmetto, Union City, and even the National Parks Service. And whether it's giving pre-arrival instructions for a heart attack or providing instructions on how to stay safe during a burglary, it's their voice that is often life-saving and critical in preserving the lives and safety of citizens.
And whereas the services provided by the public safety telecommunicators is often a silent service, and their duties are seldom observed by the general public.
The public has received even better service thanks to the installation of multiple electronic updates in recent years, including a countywide radio system and phone system, which also upgraded the 911 system for the whole county. And coming soon, the computer agency dispatch system, better known as CAD.
It's going to allow us to share intelligence with other agencies around us, other counties around us, seamless information from the field units back to the dispatch center and from the dispatch center back to the field units. It'll allow us to call transfers with information without having to ask the agency that's transferring the call. Our goal is always to provide quicker and a better quality of service. And quicker is always an issue for us when technology is concerned. So this is going to really help us get to that next point.
As impressive as that sounds, Fulton County's Dispatcher of the Year has advice that can be very helpful next time you call 911.
So we really need, when we receive calls or different information, you to put forth your best effort to help us help you. And a lot of people don't realize that until they understand or we meet with them and we can tell them how the job works and how the function is.
Reporting for FGTV, I'm Felicia Church.
Thanks, Felicia. Now, kudos to the entire emergency communications team. Meanwhile, another group dedicated to helping others in the case of an unexpected emergency is Victim Witness Advocates. Fulton's district attorney honors their special kind of service with a special look for the courtroom.
Victims are really important to the Fulton County District Attorney's Office.
In recognition of Victims' Rights Week, D.A. Paul Howard and representatives from Fulton's legal partners held an unveiling of the jackets ceremony inside Assembly Hall.
What we want them to do is to wear those jackets with pride, but we also wanted the public and the members of the criminal justice system to be able to recognize them.
27 members of the district attorney's office received a gold blazer in honor of the role they play in the court system. Green blazers went to those who are supervisors with the Victim Witness Unit. The ceremony also honored Spelman College student Jania Taylor. She's a 2014 graduate of Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, who has organized programs in hopes of persuading people to change gun laws.
Gun violence really affected my community where I'm from, and so it's important to take a stand in something that you believe in and go out and do something about it, and not just sit back and wait. So it was an honor to be granted the Highlight Award, to be a headlight in this movement and all movements that are coming about due to gun violence.
It was also announced during the ceremony that the DA's office received a domestic violence grant for some $168,000. Still to come on Fulton Today, with summer on the horizon, South Fulton residents get an update on the Parks and Recs Department transition. We'll explain in our district-by-district coverage next. Fulton commissioners thank a longtime state legislator for his years of service, and residents get an update on the final service transition to the city of South Fulton. Here's this week's district-by-district coverage. We begin with a warm reception for Georgia State Representative Wendell Willard by Fulton commissioners. The chairman of the House Judiciary Committee visited the Fulton County Government Center for a reception in his honor and for a proclamation by the full board.
As Representative Wendell Willard Appreciation Day in Fulton County, Georgia.
We're losing so many of the really smart, dedicated statesmen in the General Assembly, either running for other offices or retiring, and you're at the top of that list, Wendell. We're all going to miss you everywhere in the county and in the state.
This is the man that took us from an evidence code that was 150 years old and brought us right up to date. And he did it with a lot of people who were kicking and screaming and making other gestures, but he got it done.
You have been there during a big period of transition for the county. I think you've seen the county evolve in so many ways, and you've been very, very intimately involved in the majority of them.
Representative Wendell, who is from the 51st District, has been serving at the state capitol since 2001.
I just felt the 18 years I've served in the legislature, it's time to let somebody younger to take it over and hopefully carry that load for a while. So practicing law and enjoying retirement a little bit.
And as commissioners pointed out, he's been instrumental in passing several pieces of landmark legislation, including the 2006 passage of Georgia's eminent domain law, and in 2004, the Child Protection Law, which protects children against reckless and abusive caregivers.
We're going to come out of this.
Chairman Rob Pitts convenes his first task force on human trafficking meeting. The at-large commissioner says the group will specifically address a crisis affecting middle school age girls in Atlanta and Fulton County.
The main group, though, will be private citizens who have ideas, activists who've been involved in this. It's a great group of working people who are devoting their energy and time to address this growing problem, which has been a black eye on Atlanta and Fulton County.
We want to address all the different avenues whereby we can help stem this epidemic, and certainly juvenile court is on the front lines of that, and so we're happy to be here.
102 counties reported human trafficking in Georgia last year, and so I'm just excited about the leadership of Rob Pitts and the Fulton County to actually take this issue on and actually do something about it.
The task force will make policy recommendations and identify resource gaps for the needs of victims. The group will also examine law enforcement and prosecutorial issues at the local, state, and federal levels. Georgia ranks among the country's top 10 states in terms of human trafficking. District 5 Commissioner Marvin Arrington Jr. takes his series of community forums to Welcome All Park. Known as District Dialogues, the quarterly meetings give residents a chance to hear about the issues and upcoming events.
Some basic information: there is an intergovernmental agreement, what we generally refer to as an IGA.
This time, Fulton's Parks and Recreation Director gave the latest on the transition of services to the city of South Fulton.
We just talked about some of our upcoming events, our Family Fun Day and our Right to Rise program, which is a 5-week intensive writing program for middle school and high school students in Fulton counties.
Arts Director Lionel Thomas also presented during this session. He shared the exciting news about his department's multiple initiatives, including the Living Out Loud Senior Arts Program and the Creative Like Me partnership with behavioral health. And finally, District 6 Commissioner Emma I. Darnell and her board colleagues congratulate the boys basketball team from Langston Hughes High School. The team won their first Region 5 championship and tournament in school history and defeated Gainesville to win back-to-back GHSA 6A championships. The team was honored with a proclamation from the board after having finished the season with a record of 27 wins and only 5 losses.
What we want to do is to help them continue to do what their agenda is. And that is not only to bring honor to their school, but to prepare themselves for the challenges and the responsibilities which are ahead for them and for their families.
The full board also celebrated the girls basketball team from South Fulton's Westlake High School, who won their first GHSA 7A state title this season as well. Now you can catch more of your commissioners at work all this week with the rebroadcast of the Board of Commissioners meeting right here on FGTV. And when we come back, giving grandparents the support they need to raise their grandchildren. Stay with us. Grandparents who have the sometimes daunting responsibility of raising their grandchildren get some of the support they need thanks to Fulton's Board of Health. FGTV's Priscilla Ortega has the story.
From receiving loads of information to best raised grandkids, to a quick workout to remind grandparents that staying fit is critical. This group of Fulton County residents were thankful for all the help they could get.
I think this is a wonderful program for the community. I think the word needs to get out there that this is actually something that the community can participate in, and I think it should be done more frequently for the community to come out and fellowship.
Fulton's Board of Health, in collaboration with the Georgia Department of Human Services and a host of community and health partners, hosted this Grandparents Raising Grandchildren Resource Fair.
The services that we're offering today, counseling, we have Babies Can't Wait, we offer the library, Fulton County Library to grandparents. We also offer safety tips for the home, different types of services for grandparents in the community.
Ms. Jones offered grandparents a chance to get a free general education diploma.
Our grandparents and parents and just the citizens, period, need to be empowered. And we're doing that through education. We're going back to the old way, how we used to do things.
According to the U.S. Census Bureau, nationally, 2.7 million grandparents are primary caregivers for children living in the home. And an American Association of Retired Persons, AARP study reveals that the poverty rate of grandparents raising grandchildren is 25% higher than the U.S. poverty rate. Fulton's Board of Health professionals are hoping that whatever grandparents learned from this resource fair will help them to raise their grandchildren just a little easier. Reporting for FGTV, I'm Priscilla Ortega.
Thank you, Priscilla. Meanwhile, Fulton's chief jailer is now a certified correctional health professional. Colonel Mark Adger's new certification gives him the expertise to ensure that proper procedures are followed in the management of health services at the Fulton County Jail.
Not being a practitioner in medicine myself, I thought it was important to understand what the standards say, how they apply to a correctional institution, and what my role is in making sure that inmates get good health care.
Because correctional settings present unique challenges with strict security regulations, crowded facilities, and a myriad of legal and public health considerations, experts say that achieving professional certifications like this one is the surest way to prove that staff has the tools to meet these challenges. The National Commission on Correctional Health Care is the accrediting organization that evaluates agencies for accreditation in the corrections field. Fulton staffers joined the more than 1,000 people for the 39th annual Sickle Cell Road Race.
Runners, take your mark.
With a bang, runners and walkers took off in the 4K walk and 7K run. The sidewalks near Tri-Cities High School were also filled with supporters who were cheering on the participants. Many said they wanted to show their support because they've been impacted by the disease.
I love running, but I have friends with sickle cell disease. I did my PhD qualifying exam at Berkeley on sickle cell disease 35 years ago. So this is such a great cause, and I'm so glad you guys are doing this. I'm so thrilled to be here.
The proceeds from the race registration fees were donated to the Sickle Cell Foundation of Georgia.
But we're here today to raise funds for primarily our sickle cell camp. And this is an opportunity for kids with sickle cell to spend a week during the month of July just being kids, coming to camp with 24/7 health care.
The walkers and runners say it's important for people to know about the disease. Sickle cell is a group of inherited red blood cell disorders which can lead to pain, acute chest syndrome, and stroke. And up next on Fulton Today, the Sheriff's Office puts the pedal to the metal to ensure young children have a fun and safe time. We'll share that story with you next. And finally, putting a smile on the faces of children isn't the Sheriff's Office's first rodeo. For the third year in a row, the office, along with the Atlanta Police Department, Beltline Patrol, and the Georgia State University Pedestrian Safety Team, held the annual Bicycle Safety Rodeo in the parking lot of the Juvenile Courthouse.
This is a gauge of the community and law enforcement working together. We have a lot of sponsors, a lot of participants with us. Our chaplain program is also part of this. And because of that, the donations come in because we don't really have funding to do this. But however, all of us working together can make a difference. And the look on the young people's faces is the reward that we need.
Children between the ages of 6 and 14 learned important bike safety lessons all young riders should know, such as proper hand signals, how to start and stop, and how to put on their helmet properly. They could also bring their bikes for a free inspection.
I think the Sheriff's Department did a really good job of putting this together, and it looks like everybody's having fun. My kids having fun. I see a lot of smiles out here today.
Each participant was given a bike helmet and a t-shirt, and thanks to the donation of over 250 bikes prior to the event, many of the participants went home with one of those brand new bikes.
This year it is, oh my goodness, they expanded the event and I love it. It's even better than it was. It improved, it's bigger, it's getting bigger each year.
I think that is really nice and considerate for them to do this for the children that don't have bikes and that don't know how to ride a bike. They're giving away things like bikes, and I think that's really good because maybe some people don't have bikes, who can't afford bikes, and they're giving it away for free, and it's really fun because you got to ride around with the police and stuff.
After the instructional classes were complete, everyone gathered together for a bicycle parade around the nearby streets of the Juvenile Courthouse. And kudos to the Sheriff's Office. Now, before we go, our reminder that FGTV wants to connect with you online. Be sure to follow FGTV on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for up-to-date Fulton County news. And you can watch a replay of this show and other FGTV programs anytime on our YouTube channel. Well, that does it for this edition of Fulton Today. I'm Shania Chavis-Rucker. Thank you so much for watching. Join us each week for news around and about Fulton County.